If you want to make it to an intermediate level of chess, let's say 1800chess.com rapid or 2000 to 2100 leadchess.org, then you're going to have to target your opponent's weak pawns in your games. And so a weak pawn is one that cannot be defended by another pawn. And you'll be like, weak pawns? Details? Who cares about this light squares? Chess is 99% tactics. Haven't you heard that? And I'll say exactly. However, tactics flow from good positions. So let's demonstrate. Let's have a look at this position. It's from a book, references below. And so it's black to move. If you're watching 12, 13, 1400s play chess online, you might see a move like castles, which is a kind of weak move because you're going towards an endgame. Queens are off the board. You really want to get your king towards the center. You might also see a move like knight to d4, which looks like a juicy outpost. However, it runs into the pawn break b4, and now you can't even take because this is a free knight. Instead, simple chess, what black plays in this position is rook to b8, hitting this weak pawn here on b2, a move that all of us could understand across all levels. And you'd be like, is that it? Which is thankfully something my wife never says. And so white defends with rook to d2. We have rook b3. An important point here, which is that if you are targeting a weak pawn, you want to make sure it stays a weak pawn. It can no longer advance. You've also made your rook more active. We have here king to d1. White is sensing the danger, shuffling its king across to the queen side. We have here king to e7, f4, knight d4, king c1, h5, h4, and now finally rook on h to b8. And you see that enormous amount of pressure. Yeah, chess is 99% tactics, but you're going to get your tactics from getting yourself into good positions. Now in this position, white finds an important defensive idea, bishop to f1, getting its bishop off the second rank. And so this is perhaps beyond our level, but let me show you what happens if white makes a more intuitive looking move. Let's say something like rook to e1, activating the rook, something that we might see at our levels, bringing the king into x-ray. Then white has blundered 2 pawns. And so I'll give you a few seconds to pause the video and work it out. Of course, you don't need it. You guys are doing your tactics puzzles the whole time, I know. Here, black wins the game effectively by playing rook takes g3. And after f takes g3, you're going to win the rook back with this move, knight to b3 check. The king shuffles up, you win the rook. You'll be like, hang on, you gave up the knight, only temporarily, because we have here rook takes b2, check, king moves out the way, and of course you win back the minor piece. And if you count the pawns, you are 2 pawns up. And so, okay, a tactic like that is quite elaborate. Sometimes we get them, sometimes, but often, we don't. This game played between 2 strong players. White did see this and moved its bishop off the second rank. Here we have bishop to f1, and now we have this natural looking move, rook to f3, where we are threatening this check here on b3. Anyone can understand this. And now we have here king to d1, and the game is finished. Tactics flow from good positions. You were just targeting a weak pawn, and now you won the game. You do your tactics puzzles. Of course, here you got to evaluate all captures. Rook takes a3 is the move that effectively ends the game. And now white cannot even take because rook b1 is checkmate. And even if white doesn't take, you're still threatening checkmate here on a1. I think if you turn on the engine just wants you to give up the rook for the knight. Example number 2 is from my own game. And so when you're playing chess, guys, you will have ample opportunities to target your opponent's weak pawns. Here is a weak pawn here on e4. Simple chess, rook c5. Anyone could understand this. Putting pressure on this pawn, but also getting ready to put 2 rooks here on the 4th rank. My opponent defends c6, king g2, a5, rook on d to d4, takes. Okay, we have a weak pawn here. We can't have it all our own way in chess. Rook on 8 to e7, h4, h6, king g3, g5, h5, king f6. Have a look at its position. Dead 0. However, there are weak pawns here, and we're just going to target them. Simple chess. We have rook d6 check, rook on 7 to e6 as I get confused, rook d7, b5, rook d4, c5, takes, and okay, my opponent has a passed pawn. And so when you're dealing with situations like that, it's important to move with purpose, afford your opponent no time. Rook h7, getting ready to take this pawn and create a passed pawn of our own. There's only one way to defend, which is this move, king to e5. And now this very strong move, rook to f7, threatening mate here on f5. Of course, you saw that, guys. You analyzing champions chess store games, Magnus Carlsen games. So obvious, mediocre chess. My opponent sees it, unfortunately, and plays rook f6. We have here rook e7, check. My opponent blocks, and I almost fall into a perpetual. And it was in this moment I realized that my opponent was actually in a losing position. So try pause the video, work out What tactic, little tactic wins the game here is, of course, rook takes e4. And after king takes e4, rook takes e6 check, you've picked up 2 pawns in the process, created a passed pawn of your own. Of course, my opponent should not resign. They've got this passed pawn. They should, of course, carry on. And so we fast forward a whole bunch of moves. They go to block the promotion. But now I get to do this beautiful tactics, which I've seen in my puzzles. I love this. Rook c6 check. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. Oh, it must have felt like it got hit in the private parts, man. Look at this. And of course, what can black do? What can black do? If it moves its king out the way, then of course we're going to take. And if they decide to take, which is the right move, then we're going to promote to queen. And for some reason, they resigned in this position. They, of course, shouldn't. They should play on, try to promote this pawn anyway. However, it just hurts. Rook c6. What in the chat? It was a good move. It was a good move, right? That's it. Bye.